Welcome back, folks. Hasn't been quite so long as last time. Today on the bench we are going to tear down this, which is an M1 B&W loudspeaker. I've never actually had one of these apart before, so this is going to be an adventure for us both. These were available all the way through the 2000s. I think there's something similar available to it now, but this is an old one. Obviously it's had a hard life. It has been destroyed, so don't get too upset when I start tearing it to pieces. You can see we're going to need some Allen keys, so I'll go and grab some of them and then we'll dive right in. So these weren't super popular in the store that I worked at. We mainly did bigger stuff, 800 series, 700 series marginally, 600 series CDMs, etc. So I'm not really familiar with these things at all, so I'll probably fumble my way through this. Good solid, good heavy cast wall mounting bracket. Wiring can be fed in nice and tidy through the back there and then terminated inside, so all you see up against the wall is that, or even as a tabletop, all you see is the stand. So they're very, very nicely designed. Lifestyle product basically. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if that short that you may or may not be able to see there is the reason why this speaker was brought in for service. Because that wire has been pinched pretty hard there. Yeah, that's going to be shorting. So that's probably why this thing came in for service. Never got picked up, so it has donated its life to science. Okay, it looks like that plastic front just probably clips on, which it does. Now, someone has had this apart before. So there we have our big old rubber seal. Another little connector there that goes onto the crossover. So again, just a die-cast alloy housing, semi-decent kind of port. Nice finish on these. Like, this has been sitting for years. You know, the paint has copped a bit of a drumming, been kicked around the floor and whatnot, so it's hung together pretty well. There's no massive chips or anything on it. Okay, getting down to business. A little bit of stuffing. Just some polyfill crap. Again, still with the die-cast housings. Good solid housings in these things. Good solidly built plastic baffle, plastic fascia, and they do have a perforated steel grill which clips on there. Once that comes off, well, it's got to be fitted like that and then clipped in before the rest of the speaker is assembled. So if you ever pull one of these off, you'll never get it back on without pulling the speaker apart. So we'll dig in. Another two connectors, good quality connectors going to our high and low frequency drivers. Very basic crossover. 3.3 microfarad capacitor. Obviously going to our tweeter. Bit of crap on the board, but nothing that's going to make it die. Looks like it might have had a bit of moisture damage at some stage, going by that. And yeah, air core inductor on a plastic former. Decent gauge wire too, so they're actually not a bad quality little speaker, these. I was quite surprised to see the amount of guts that goes into them. Magnetically shielded bass driver, or mid-bass driver. And yeah, good solid die-cast housing, basket, whatever you want to call it. I'll pull that out of there. It's a nice little frame. Even in their entry-level, or not entry-level, but their lifestyle products, you know, you compare what you get when you buy a Bose or some piece of crap like that compared to like a B&W system, there's really no comparison. Bass driver, really good little bass driver actually. It's a polycone, magnetically shielded driver, so doesn't interfere with other stuff around the place. It was super important when we were still using CRTs. Nowadays, not so much. Just press on terminals, etc. Reasonable amount of excursion in the driver. Quite surprising, actually. See if I can lift this up and have a look at the voice coil. Spider made of typical spider material. Good sized copper braids. Nothing real surprising there. Oh yeah, she's been hot. You can see there's a little bit of discoloration to that voice coil there. So it has been warm. It does smell like it's been hot as well. No ferrofluid or anything in there. Obviously that's normally reserved for high frequency drivers. Copper coated pole piece. Decent amount of gravity in this too. Obviously you can see like it's a big solid basket. No plastic. It's all cast aluminium. So yeah, happy days there. Surprising. Tweeter. Oh, what can we see here? Our favourite thing. Nautilus tube in the tweeter. Yeah, stuck in there from the back and then held in place by that from behind. So just a little bit of a foam surround on there to seal it against the baffle, and then everything is held into place by this fairly substantial casting onto the back of the Nautilus tube up against the baffle, and yeah, really nice. So it gets just a circumference seal around there, so no twisting or contorting or distorting. Nautilus tube should come off in one piece. Hey. And yeah, as you'd expect, got our poly stuffing inside there, just like we do in the higher end Nautilus speakers. Don't ever do this to reshape a tweeter, because that will invariably happen. Yeah, and the Nautilus tube, again filled with poly and sealed too. There is sealer on there, so we get that sealed enclosure behind the diaphragm, so it's sealed all the way around there and then sealed at the back again. So yeah, there's actually a fair bit of technology going into this. We'll have a look at the voice coil. I dare say we're going to be dealing with like a 20, maybe 25 mil ferrofluid cooled. Going to be a bit too close quarters for me to break the knife out, I think. I just put a new blade in it the other day. I don't want it covered in blood. And we have ferrofluid and a voice coil that was near as damn it to 25 mil. Yep. And again, fair bit of gravity in that too, so yeah, surprises all round, I must say. I didn't expect them to be that well built. I'm glad you came along on this little journey with me. This has been quite insightful for myself, and hopefully for you too. B&W M1 monitor. So again, yeah, these were just a little satellite speaker system. Looking at the materials that went into these, I think they were probably pretty bloody good value for money, actually. So I'm sure if you got a set of these, you're probably still enjoying them right now if they haven't been burnt out, or the cable hasn't been pinched like this one here had been. But no, good little speaker, I think. Thanks for watching. See you next time.